and welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the tea in reality, and you can always come here first to quench your reality thirst. I am your girl, Lana, the resident diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. That's what I do. So if you have the tea, hit me up, period. Yeah. And I have water, but I didn't put it in my mug today. To my mug. But, if you like this mug, I'll put in a link in the bio where you can get this mug because you want this mug. You know you do. Come on.
I am currently waiting on mine to arrive. I ordered mine right after the Elimination Chamber on Sunday. Uh, but it is Brook, your college graduate who plays way too much Smash Bros. Although, to be honest, I haven't played any Smash Bros. Since Monday. I should probably get on that. Uh, and fittingly on brand, the past couple days I've been playing WWE 2K22 because I want to be prepped and ready for 23 next month. Um, and also the roster is looking stacked. But I'm very excited to talk about Elimination Chamber, and yeah.
Yep, and you know what it is. Finishing it off, as always, it's Wes hitting you with water, as always. And wish I had seltzer. I don't, but I'm ready to talk wrestling.
Yep. So let's talk wrestling. We're here. We might as well talk about it because we had our predictions, and I kind of think between the three of us, we were pretty spot on what was going to happen. At least one of us was right about everything, about each particular match. Some more than others, but it's okay.
It's
I
not
was
it's
there,
not it's not a competition. I only got one match wrong, but it's not a competition.
which that's fine. That is totally fine. A lot of my picks were based on what I want, which is
Mhm.
fine because that's just what you do. What we wanted. Sometimes you can just manifest it and say it, and it happens. But not always, not always. But we'll start with the same order we started with on the prediction show. We started with the women's elimination chamber match first. We all declared eventually that Asuka was going
Mhm.
to win this match. And our declaration was true.
Yeah.
Asuka won this match. Period.
I mean,
West declared it first. I will say West declared it first, but
mhm.
we all was in very much agreement that that was going to happen.
You couldn't deny it too. When you had the way the chamber went down is maybe a little more suspect than I think we all were assuming, just based off of the people that were in it. Like the elimination order was a bit off, but when you had Oscar come in and get into a pod, right, and they didn't put her in first, for one, she's not going to come out until the very end, and because she is that big of a deal. But two, and perhaps more importantly, the way they were building up Oscar in her entrance, because I believe she was the first person to come out, right? And then everybody else came out after, and they had an interaction with Oscar in the pod, right? So even though she was the first person out and she went into the pod and we didn't really see her until the end, she was still staying in your mind because people were interacting with her throughout the entire match. So I think she really got like a really good boost just based off of how they produced the chamber at this particular go round.
Yeah, I can't take any pride in the fact that Oscar won. It was one of the things. It's like math, 2 + 2 always equals 4, and Oscar was always winning this elimination chamber. There was no doubt in my mind, and it came true, of course. Obviously, Oscar's going to go on into WrestleMania. We'll see what happens there. But I thought the women's match overall, looking back on it, what an excellent match. I thought it was quite good. I don't know if it was my favorite match of the entire night, but man, was it a great match. Some really
Mm-hmm.
good spots, really interesting, multiple people on one combinations. I thought were very inventive. Probably one of the best, like women elimination chambers. Period. I thought it was just extremely good.
I think the big problem with the Elimination Chamber for me is that for a while it started to feel really samey, right? Like you get the spots where people get thrown into the chain. Somebody jumps off of the top of a pod. Somebody occasionally goes through a pod, right? But I feel like both of the chamber matches, and we'll talk about the men's later on in the episode, but I think both of the chamber matches did a really good job about not feeling too repetitive. I think the only thing I remember being like, okay, enough's enough, is when they were doing the whole choking each other out with the chain spots. Because, Wes, how many, we called it out during the show. I think by the time they got Natalia in the chains, we were just like, okay, they've done it like
Yeah,
5 or 6
it was like
times.
this is the gimmick, and then it was the gimmick.
Yeah. But other than that, I think this match was overall really great. Special shout out to Liv Morgan's denim attire, because that was straight fire. Not a special shout out to when and how she was eliminated, but we don't talk about that.
I will say what I will talk about, and this is a special shout out. I feel like shout out to Nikki Cross because she particularly played the role that she was supposed to play. Like she came out there and was crazy Nikki. She sat in the chamber the entire time until it was time for her to go in. Like she played up the whole thing like with Carmella, and Carmella's like, "Oh my God, you're crazy." And then her and Oscar's interaction, and they like, it was just a good thing. I feel like I feel like everybody played their roles properly. I feel like some people I would have just swapped out with somebody else because I didn't think they added anything to this match or took away anything from the match. I mean, I like Raquel. Don't get me wrong. I like her, but she's boring. Like, she bored me to tears in this match. I didn't feel anything like she was a presence, but I just didn't. It wasn't memorable. For her performance wasn't as memorable as I would like it to, but it was a good match overall. I think everybody played off of the character
Mm-hmm.
they were supposed to play. And she's not a flashy character. She's not somebody who's going to do any, she's not crazy. She's the big one. She's the strong one. She's going to give you athleticism. She's going to give you dominance when she's in there. And she did that. It was I don't know. I felt like other characters overshadowed her character, but Oscar, Nikki, even Liv, Carmella, even like
Mm-hmm.
it was just you knew what to expect from them, and they gave you that. I still want.
Absolutely. Would you say it's a fair thing to say, especially with Raquel? I feel like everything she did in the ring was absolutely great. It's just
Yes,
there's nothing outside of the ring that brings interest to anything that's happening in the ring. And I feel like that's
exactly.
Raquel's issue, So it's less of her performance at Elimination Chamber because I think she had some really great spots. I think Brooke, we talked about it. First spear in a women's Elimination Chamber to go
Hmm.
through the chamber.
The first
Hmm.
time somebody has put somebody else through a pod in a women's elimination chamber, because Nia Jax did do the whole tackle herself through the pod, trying to hit somebody through the pod during the
Hmm.
women's chamber ages ago.
Hmm.
But that was a great spot. I've seen it
Hmm.
before though. The spot in this match that is sticking out in my head is Liv Morgan doing the sunset flip power bomb off the top of
Is
the
anyone
pod
surprised?
to recover Rodriguez. Okay, that's
No,
not even a me thing. That you have to admit that was kind of amazing. It was kind of incredible.
Yes, we
Um,
agree. But it's also a Liv Morgan spot, so
I'm about to
hey,
say so. It's going to always stick out in your mind, Brooke, but
hey,
that's
that was
okay. You
well. Also, other spot that was really cool. You had Carmella and Asuka hitting 9 or 10 kicks on Raquel before Raquel went out.
another
One
shout
that
out, just as you said, Lana, everything Nikki Cross did in the ring.
yes.
She did
everything.
everything and then got eliminated.
Yeah.
It was a
Mhm.
tragedy, but it's what happened.
Do we think? Not that. No, I want to be clear here. I'm not even going to ask if we think Asuka winning here was the right call. Obviously, it was. Um,
Obviously.
do we think the elimination order played out the way it should have? Because I think there are two problems I have with it, but other than that, I'm okay with it.
See, interestingly enough, I think that's I don't know. I don't go into an elimination match looking at the order being wrong. I think it was fine.
Exactly.
I think every elimination felt deserved.
Hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it first of all, it fake Habe helped Liv Morgan stay on top. And then there's Raquel, who had a really great spot and then got combination. A lot of these were like combination finishes. And then, of course, that basically kayfabe protects a lot of wrestlers' durability or endurance, right? And so I thought most of the eliminations, I'm less concerned about like the order itself, but the actual eliminations were very, very good.
See,
I just
I would
I
agree.
don't get that scrutinous with booking.
So I would agree with you to a point. The thing that I'm more interested in terms of like the order though was one, when we got down to Carmella and Asuka, I don't think a single person watching the show thought Carmella even had a slight chance of winning. Uh to me, that's when you would either put Raquel or Liv at the end, because those are the other two that people were like saying had a shot to win this match that wasn't Asuka, even if it was like a slim chance.
To be fair to you, I think that there were 6 women in this ring, and there was no one who had any thought that Asuka was not winning. So,
I mean,
but I
to be
do
fair,
understand what you mean.
yes. But in a world where Asuka, like, let's say Asuka got injured and had to be taken out of the match, right? Liv and Raquel were like the second and third choice. Maybe not in that particular order, but those were the other two that people even gave a shot, right?
I don't agree with that, honestly. I feel like
Okay.
I think everybody in this match, if something happened to Asuka, I think the field, of course, would have been wide open. Yes, I think Liv probably second, but as much as I don't, care for her, Carmella's a champion. She's an ex-champion. She deserves to have a spot, just like Natalya deserves to have a spot. And I feel like it could have been any of them. Um, would it have been as exciting to see a Carmella Bianca at WrestleMania? Maybe not, but or even a Natalia Bianca at WrestleMania, probably not. But if something happened to Asuka where she couldn't physically finish this match, I think any of them, they would have had to build up a story around it or why this was the case now. But I think any of them would have been able to would have been okay to go. They would have just had WWE would have just had to figure out why it would make sense to the fans now and how they could hype it up a little bit more, because they would have to put in the work to hype it up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Also, do we feel like just in general, comparing this to like previous women's elimination chambers, we touched on it a little bit. This is probably definitely in the top half for sure. I would argue it's in the top 2, definitely. I think the only one that would maybe come close would be the one that Alexa Bliss won, like the first women's elimination chamber. But outside of that, I think those are both like really good matches.
I think this is a good match.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I think overall, I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the spots. I enjoyed everybody and what they did. So I think overall, this is a good one. I wouldn't hate it. I don't hate it. So, so let's move on. Oh wait, well, question now, since we do have our women's Raw Championship set for WrestleMania, do we feel like this is the time for Asuka? Is Bianca Belair ready for Asuka?
I brought it up when I think during the Royal Rumble, when we were talking about Asuka coming back. Asuka is currently 0-3 at WrestleMania. Bianca has won at WrestleMania twice now. As much as I love Bianca, and I really do, and she has had a fantastic reign. It has been delightful. It's time. Pull the trigger. Especially, it's Triple H. Like, Triple H pulling the trigger. Come on. Pull the trigger on her. Give Asuka the belt. She deserves it. As much as I would prefer her to be fighting Charlotte, because I feel like that would be more poetic, and I think it would be way more entertaining. And also, Asuka with that blue face paint with the blue belt would be so cool. Asuka should win whoever she's fighting against at Mania, and since it's Bianca, unfortunately, I think she should be Bianca.
Yeah, I mean, she's beating Bianca. I mean,
oh, most definitely.
You don't do what you've done with Asuka recently, and then you just go, "Oh yeah, but she'll lose at Mania." Only Vince would be that stupid.
Has been that
stupid, and I agree with that. I like, y'all know I love Bianca Belair. There's no secret. I don't hide that fact that I love Bianca Belair. I agree with you, Brooke. She had a great reign. She's been champion for a year. now is the time. If she's going to drop it to anybody, it needs to be Asuka.
Mhm.
And Asuka deserves to have a great reign. I would say another year reign for Asuka, so she can go from WrestleMania to WrestleMania 2, and that'd be fine with me. But yeah, I feel like this is the time. I think Triple H will not do what Vince did to Asuka, let her be undefeated, then go into WrestleMania and lose. Like, what? That makes no sense. So I think Asuka's winning at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
but whatever. And some now it's rumors that somebody's turning heel on me. You think, can Asuka really turn heel at this point? Because I really don't think she can. I think Asuka is one of those people who is like, people are going to love her regardless of what she does. This is supposed to be her heel era anyway, sorta, kinda. But she still has, like, everybody still loves Asuka. So
Yeah, she could go and dress up as like Sadako from The Ring, and people would still see her as a face. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of things. And because, of course, there's the language barrier, it's not like she can even go and say something that's so horrible or heinous that would get her instant heel heat. So,
mm,
yeah, I definitely agree with you. This might be her attempting to be heel, but I don't think Asuka has an easy capability to be heel. It's very
See,
hard. It's probably
see,
not
to,
impossible, but hard.
see, to me,
Maybe managed by Paul Heyman.
this isn't even heel Asuka to me though. This is Asuka like this is like about as clear of a tweener character as you could possibly get. Okay, because to me at least, because one, she hasn't feuded with any faces yet. The only person she's really feuded with so far has been Carmella, and even then that was like barely anything. Um, this has been Asuka focused on her end goal with a new persona behind it, right? And to me, you could put Asuka up against Bianca, and you could put Asuka up against Charlotte, and you could put Asuka up against like freaking Shayna Baszler, whoever, right? Heel or face, and no matter what, that matchup will work because this character doesn't really care about picking a side here. It's more focused on Asuka's like presence and what she brings to the table.
mhm,
Um, so to me, heel or face, tweener, whatever, I think Asuka definitely has like added a lot more character to the Raw Women's division, a lot more depth to the division just by being back for one, but two, like creating this new, well, not even new, like bringing back an older persona into the company for the first time, and I think that's
mhm.
definitely going to carry her really far. If she does turn heel at Mania, like I'll love it either way. Wes is right. You can't hate on Asuka. I don't see a world where it's kind of like AJ Styles. Like even if AJ Styles is a heel, we're still gonna love his matches and we're gonna love his in ring work and we're still gonna like appreciate what he brings to the table. It's the same thing here.
I mean,
Yep.
it's the same. I feel like Oscar is at that point where, like, I feel Seth Rollins is right now. Seth
Mhm.
Rollins is one of those people, like, he's been heel, he's been face, and now he can just do whatever, and people are going to love Seth freaking Rollins. It
Yep.
doesn't matter if he's heel or face; you're just going to love him. Same thing like what happened with the Undertaker. Same thing that happened with like Stone Cold. They can do anything when you get to a point where the fans just like you, they're gonna always like you.
Mhm.
It's not a whole lot of people who gets flipped. Some people get flipped on, and it is
Maybe
what it
maybe
is.
Asuka can become vegan. It
Oh,
worked for
and
Daniel
then
Bryan.
It did work
and
for time.
people still liked him even with his vegan face. So it is what it is. But but we move on to what I like to say was my favorite match of the night. I really enjoyed this match. It was one of my favorite matches to watch, and it was the men's Elimination Chamber. I thought this match had everything. It was a lot of the holy S moments that we want in these kind of matches. And I feel like the men delivered with this when they came with
Mhm.
all the fire, all the smoke, all the heat. Everybody came through. It was just a good match all around for me. It was my favorite to watch.
Em-
So,
Emphasis on the smoke, just for clarity. Emphasis on bringing the smoke because Montez Ford. Oh my God, Montez Ford in this match was incredible. Okay. And also, when you were saying this was your favorite match, I thought you were going to go in like the order that they aired on the card. And like, if Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley is your
oh
favorite
no,
card,
oh no,
but no,
no.
um,
I went in the order that we talked about on the recap.
yeah, totally got it. Um, but okay, so one, they made the right call with the belt here. As much as it irritates me, they made the right call. But unless they had Montez Ford win the belt, otherwise, right call. Um, but not only did we get the Montez Ford John Morrison spot off the top of the chamber, only a cooler version of the John Morrison spot, I might add. You get freaking the two Topik and Helos over the top rope onto the Elimination Chamber. The way he landed, I legitimately thought he hurt himself, and he did it 3 times, and I was cringing. Um, you got this amazing sequence where freaking Johnny Gargano hit a poison Rana on Bronson Reed, which I gasped. Like, you can ask Wes. I was like, and also for clarity, I think every single person in this match was incredible. This is honestly a top 3, top 2 Elimination Chamber for me now. I have seen all of them. I had that like Devil's Playground DVD when I was younger with all the Elimination Chamber matches on the time, and I've seen all of them since. I think the only other Elimination Chamber that could come close is like No Way Out 2008. Like, even this is just incredible from top to bottom. Everybody played their part here. And they made the right call. As bummed as I am to say it, the right person won the chamber.
Yeah, I will say I have to completely agree with both your sentiments. This is probably my favorite Elimination Chamber match. I've watched a good few, not all of them, but a good few of them, and I've really enjoyed this one. Specifically, I do just have to shout out. They didn't win the chamber like I wanted them to, but Montez Ford probably had the best performance, like almost of this year, so far for me. Unbelievable work, unbelievable talent, unbelievable speed, unbelievable precision. It's really, really ridiculous the level of wrestling we got to see at the Elimination Chamber, specifically in the men's. It almost made the women's feel a little bit underwhelming in comparison with the pace specifically. But I think that's more of a testament to the performers that we got to see in the men's Elimination Chamber than any knock against anyone else. It was just that high pressure. So I only have positive things to say about the Elimination Chamber, even
Yeah.
Austin retaining.
Yeah, even like I said, I knew I was very much like I want Montez Ford to win. That was the want, that was the desire, that was what I wanted. But it was like if he doesn't win, we knew who was going to, because who needed it most. And everybody, like we said on the recap, everybody else is pretty much set for WrestleMania on what they were going to do. Like Johnny Gargano needed a spot. If he would have won, I would have been okay with it. If anybody else would have won, it would have been okay. That's how good this match was. That's how amazing the performance was. Because any of those men could have won, and I would have been okay with, because it'd be like it was well earned and well deserved in this match. They put on a show. Johnny Gargano had a breakout performance in my eyes. I thought he did great, and Montez Ford, great. Like, you have to put your eyes on them now. If you didn't have your eyes on them before, you have to put your eyes on them now. And I feel like this shows how Montez will be as a singles competitor, which so exciting, so amazing. And I mean, they don't call Johnny Gargano Mr. Wrestling for no reason. He's put on a, like, when he did that spot off the top of the chamber, and it
The,
was
the Hurricane
so,
Rana off the top
yes,
of the
off the
pod.
top of it
Well,
was
okay,
so crazy.
so we were at an apartment with like 6 people, right? And Seth had Johnny up like that, and I thought they were about to do that spot where he just like power bombs him onto the
Mm-hmm.
right. I looked at Weston like, imagine he does a Hurricane Rana, and like 2 seconds after this, he pops out the Hurricane Rana. I lost my mind. I don't think I have ever seen a spot in an Elimination Chamber outside of maybe the Undertaker MVP choke slam that I looked at and I thought that was so incredibly dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Terrified for these people. Um, Also, quick shout out: Montez Ford won the Ring Gear of the Night award simply for that entrance attire. Was so good.
Made by Bianca Belair, by the way.
Oh, was
Just
it
want to put that
actually?
up. Yeah, she made
Oh,
that ring attire for him. Period.
they're so cute. I love them both.
Love
Um,
them.
Dude, that could be the next WWE power couple if they left them. Like, just be.
For sure.
But just imagine they do another mixed match challenge, and it's all these people that are in relationships, like married couples or
Oh,
dating couples.
I'd love it. Give
I
me
love
give me
that.
I would
Becky
love it.
Lynch and Seth Rollins versus Montez Ford and Bianca Belair.
Here for it. Here
Give me
for it.
Epic
that.
match.
Give me like Edge and Beth Phoenix in there too. You can even do
Hmm.
like a couple with like Rhea and Dominic. Like I would pop so hard for
Give
that.
me, give me Jay and Naomi. Bring them back.
Exactly.
Let's just
Well,
do that,
we got to get Naomi
and
back first.
we'll get her back. Get Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. Let them do it. Get them in there. I would be here for that. Let's
I
Ms.
mean,
Maurice, bring them back. Let's bring them
yeah,
back too.
give me Liv Morgan, Bo Dallas, and then you got a nice 8-person tournament, like 8-team tournament. We're here for it. But we do have to address the elephant in the room at the end of the chamber, involving a certain social media star making his appearance. I think that when they were taking Montez Ford out of the ring, right? At first, I was like, "Oh, he actually hurt himself doing those suicide dives, and he got through it on adrenaline because it legit looked like he could have hurt himself." But then he was getting carted out. I'm like, "Wait, no, this is WWE. They're doing shenanigans. They didn't throw up the X either. This is wrong." And then Logan Paul came out, and he still has a really pretty buckshot lariat, and it makes me mad. But regardless of how we feel about Logan Paul, because I don't think a single person in this particular trio of people are a fan of him, we can at least acknowledge that he is good in the ring, and the match with Seth Rollins at Mania will be really good. Which
It's
sucks.
gonna be good. I mean, it's gonna be good. I'm not gonna take anything away from Logan Paul. Did I expect him to show up like that? Not in particular. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm not surprised by it. It's like, okay, sure, they have to. Seth Rollins had this right with him and he never said, "I want to fight Logan Paul at WrestleMania." It's always been like, Logan Paul, I'm just go and not talking about it. Now they had to give him a reason to say, "Yes, I want to fight Logan Paul. Like, you cost me my chain, my win at the Elimination Chamber, blah blah blah." So now they had to set it up. I get it.
Yep.
It. I don't know if. I mean, I think the match is still gonna be amazing between Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. It's gonna be a good match because, as like you said, as much as we don't like him, he's good in the ring. He does good spots. He does some good things, some stuff that's going to be
Yep.
unique. And
Strange worry, but maybe you guys would feel the same. Is anyone else worried about Logan Paul potentially hurting themselves at WrestleMania?
No, I'm
Logan
not.
Paul's pretty danger prone, it seems.
he,
Well, I mean, okay, he fought in 3 matches, and out of the 3 matches, 4 matches now, he's only been injured once. And it was the same injury. It was 1 match, and he had 2 injuries. Let's be clear, okay? Because he didn't get injured in his tag match with The Miz.
Yes, he did. He got concussed.
I don't remember hearing about that, but regardless, just like looking historically, if he does get injured, he has enough part-time dates where he could take off the time and heal up.
Yes, it's
I
just
mean,
something I've noticed. Because he actually did get concussed in that match. Not terribly. He wasn't out. He didn't have to take any time out, but he did get concussed enough to where I forget which pro wrestler veteran said this, but it's like the boy needs to tuck his head in.
mm-hmm. I think I think he's a little reckless at times. I think he lets the hype of the crowd, the adrenaline pumping through him, and he gets a little reckless. Like, he doesn't execute everything as technical as he should. Like, if you're going to jump off the top of something onto a table, onto somebody, you have to position your body where it doesn't just directly take that blow. And so I do think sometimes he can be a little reckless. I, I wouldn't be surprised if he got hurt in this match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, because Seth Rollins being but I think with Seth Rollins being the technical guy that he is, he might be able to control the situation. He might have to be the ring general that Logan Paul, I think, needs, because
Absolutely. I think again he's just new talent, and he's exceptionally talented. and I think that he's definitely like trying to push past his limits. But you know what? What
Hmm.
else can you want more from a part timer, right? It's like
Yeah,
they're only going to be here once in a while, so might as well watch them like burn up like Icarus. And he almost kind of reminds me of that type of figure. I just hope he doesn't get his wings too close to the sun. That's all.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
So, two last thoughts, unless anybody else, anything else in this particular match. One, I still hate Austin Theory's finisher. It still looks like trash, and he still needs to make it feel more impactful. If you want to look at somebody hitting this move properly, check out Ty Dillinger when he was using it on the main roster. It looked way better. Um, but secondly, just a quick reminder about Montez Ford. If you have watched this match and you are not feeling similar things to like Kofi Mania right now about Montez Ford, I really don't know what else to do with you at this point. Like, just this man is so talented, and we've talked
Yeah.
about it forever. Like,
But Brooke, we can't feel that way because Brock Lesnar's busy.
stop that. Okay, we're not talking about the 8-second match. Okay, I wish it was 8 minutes. I'll be honest. We just want. I want to live in a world where the winner of the Royal Rumble next year is Montez Ford. That's what I want. Because Money in the Bank would be too soon. Just give him time to have a nice blow off feud with Angelo Dawkins, like a 3-month proper feud between the two of them. Have Montez Ford in that by winning the U.S. title, hold it for a couple months, and by the time the Rumble comes around, he's dropped the U.S. title and he is just getting up into the main event when he wins the Royal Rumble. That's what I want. I think they have enough time to build it up properly. And also, this guy is destined to be a star. They just got to pull the trigger, and I really hope they do because they've done it before where you have people that are like right on the cusp of it and then they shove them back down the card. Like recently, I'm thinking of Liv Morgan. That's just the most recent example where they've given them a taste of the limelight, and then the second they start proving themselves, they just get shoved straight back down the card for the familiar. And I really hope that isn't what happens here. I mean, honestly, you could even make an argument for Sami Zayn, as much as I hate to say it. I know it's only been like one show, but he's been probably is the most over person in the company right now. But he's gonna, I feel like, get shoved back down the card back into like that mid card tag team IC title reign area. And you have so many really talented people on this roster. Inevitably, there are going to be people that are going to get stunted, but you cannot blow an opportunity like Montez Ford. You just can't.
I agree. I agree with that. I hope they do what's right because like I said, if your eyes were not on him before, they have to be on him now. We said the same thing about Gunther at Royal Rumble. If you weren't looking at him before, I mean, even though he was IC champion, it's still sometimes people he was a sleeper champion in some people's eyes. Like some people didn't know who he was if you don't really. But I feel like Montez is one of those people. If you weren't paying attention, you have to because he just showed you what his potential is, and just imagine what he could do if he's pushed to another level of with bigger talent and more. It's just he just got to get better. So that's
And while we're on the subject, there one thing. If you all didn't see, they're doing that 20-person battle royal at the Madison Square Garden show in March. Winner of that's going to be fighting Gunther at Mania. Fingers crossed for McIntyre or Sheamus. Do we think Austin Theory's fighting Cena at Mania? Is that like what we've collectively agreed on, or do we think it's going to be somebody else?
I will. I'm like 50% sure it's Cena. Only because since they started doing this whole press conference thing after the shows, which I don't understand why we have to watch that or what's that about. But he was asked about Cena, and of course he was like, "Why did everybody keep asking me about Cena? Why are we talking about Cena? It's about me." Blah blah blah. I think Cena can never pass up an opportunity to tell some young kid, "Hey, you know, I still got it." So I think I'm about 50% sure. I want to watch the rest, a couple of more weeks of like if something develops, if they want to put something else out there. But I still think it's probably Cena.
Well, we know Cena's going to be coming back in a few weeks. They've already announced it. So I'm leaning more that way. The only thing I'm personally worried about is, Phil, because Cena's more into Hollywood now that he is WWE by clearly.
Hmm.
Or like a filming schedule thing could happen, and Theory could end up fighting like Gargano at Mania or somebody else. I would love that match, by
Yeah,
the way.
my only want for John Cena is maybe when he comes back to have some hair transplant surgery. Um, but
Yeesh.
but you know what? I would love to see Cena come back. I really love John Cena, and I loved him even when he was, let's go Cena. Cena sucks. So I
Yeah.
would really like to see him come back. I, the belt, doesn't need a belt, not at all, but it's gonna have a belt, I guess, if it happens. And then also, of course, that leads to just another belt that Cena could potentially have for a while. So we'll see.
We'll see. So we'll
Number like
leave it at that.
750 or something.
If
we'll
there's
s-
another belt, it needs to be the IC title, just based on the fact that he's never had it, and this man should be a Grand Slam, but he's not. But hey.
but all right. Well, moving on. Let's go to the. I think we went to the Bobby Brock match next.
Hey, Bobby, let's
Hey,
have a
Bobby.
7-second match. Bobby,
Oh, do we love Bobby? Um,
what is this
I
match?
I am so angry and so disappointed. Okay, because not only did they waste our time by putting this on the show, right? Because to me, if this match was not on this card, right, and even if we only had 4 matches, right, this show would be an A tier show, like an A plus show. It was pretty much perfect from top to bottom. This match has taken it down to like a B plus to me because what was the point, right? The point was, okay, both of these two have a win over each other. We're gonna decide who the winner is between the two of them, right? This feels like the second match to me, right? Like we're both gonna fight, and then I can't beat you, so I'm gonna get DQ, right? It was so lame. Not to mention the fact that Wesley made a valid point. We were talking about it a couple days ago. Um, in what world should Brock Lesnar be portrayed anything even remotely close to a face? Right? And that's how they were kind of building it, was that Bobby and Brock were, neither one of them were on like the moral high ground, but Brock was like more on the moral high ground, I guess. And then you have Bobby are like legitimately about to beat Brock, and because Brock doesn't want to tap out or pass out, he freaking kicks him in the crotch. Like, what does this accomplish? It makes them both look bad because it makes Bobby look like he couldn't put Brock down, and it makes Brock look weak enough that he couldn't beat Bobby on his own. Like, what was the point?
You know, I think it just accomplished making Brock Lesnar look worse than he already did, and that genuinely is pretty satisfying for me. Um, I don't know what type of charade makeup games accordion of heel and face they were trying to play with this travesty, but I can't say I enjoyed it. And on top of that, I agree with you, Brooke. I can't even understand the reason behind even putting it on the card. Maybe the only reason is they wanted to have a feud amount to nothing than a wet paper bag. Like maybe that's why I guess they wanted to waste 3 minutes of our time. But that's as much as I've got for you.
I mean, I will point out though, because this has happened since we recorded our predictions for Elimination Chamber. Uh, Bray Wyatt challenged the winner of this match to a match at WrestleMania, and Bobby did win this match by disqualification. And then on Raw 2 days ago, Omos challenged Brock Lesnar to a match at WrestleMania. So it's not even like we're gonna get Bobby Brock at Mania again to like properly settle this. We're not getting it. Like, and also Omos Brock is going to be so bad. It is going to be so bad. But
The real question is, could it be worse than this?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. 100% yes.
At
It
least
probably
Bobby and
will be,
Brock are
which is
both
pretty
competent.
terrifying.
Bobby and Brock are
I
both in the ring. Like,
I don't Okay. So I agree with you, Wes, on one point. This match made Brock Lesnar look worse than he already is. And it makes no sense for the build up of Brock Lesnar to be what it is, for him to stoop down to a level of kicking someone in the crotch to get out of a move, blatantly in front of the referee. Like, why would that? He's supposed to be the big bad Brock, like the conqueror, the beast, all of that. And what beast is go stoop down to a level of disqualification? Like, wouldn't you rather pass out than say I quit, or do something low down like kicking him in the crotch in front of the referee for that doesn't make any sense to me. This whole situation didn't make any sense to me. It looked weak. It made Brock look weak to me, because that's what you settled for. And honestly, I don't think it made Bobby look bad. I think Bobby looked fine, because he had him beat. He had him beat. And if he would have helped, and he was holding on to it, if Brock didn't do that, Brock would have passed out or quit, either one.
Yep.
So I don't think this made Bobby look bad. This made Brock look bad. And I don't know if this was planned. Like, that was
I
the
thought it was a
whole
botch at first. I thought he
right.
was maybe going for a kneecap, and then they had to
Right.
run with something, because it was that shockingly, unbelievably bad.
It just didn't look right. I didn't
It was
think that
so
was
dissatisfying that it left us questioning the point of it entirely. That's worse than bad.
I will give them credit for one thing in this matchup. At least it was not long, because this could have been like 10 minutes before that. It was less than 5. So there's that. Also, apparently, I don't know if anyone remembers where Brock did the F5 on the ref after the match.
Yeah.
That was not planned. That was not something that was supposed to happen. Allegedly, the referee has a concussion now. I don't know if that's true. Brock got fined for it. So another thing that we have against Brock here. This also second pay-per-view in a row where Brock Lesnar has went off on a ref and got them injured off script. So there's that.
See, it sounds like they were trying to make him a cowboy, and then he's just like, you know what? I would rather just be known as a douchebag. And you know what, Brock? You get what you ask for.
Y'all know how I don't like this man. I don't like his character. I don't like the fact
What
that
character?
what we don't know
know?
what he's trying to be, or like, are you the conqueror? Are you the beast? Or are you the cowboy? Like, what are you? Who are you? I don't know who this man is. I just know that he was supposed to be this big intimidating factor, and he diminished his whole thing by kicking somebody in the crotch, like, to get disqualified. That's kind of lame, and this was a wasted of. I feel like
You're
this
right,
was a
Lana.
waste
That's
of.
the perfect word to describe this entire part of the card. Lame.
This is lame.
One word. Lame.
I miss Brock's Boombox Brock. That was his best time period in the company, where he won Money in the Bank and he had like the Boombox decal on the briefcase. It was stupid, and he had no reason to have that briefcase, but I'm happy it happened. Regardless, I'm just happy that hopefully this feud is over. I don't care for it. I don't care to see them fight again. And honestly, even if it's one of those things like it feels unfinished, good. I don't care. I feel nothing at this point. Let's move on from it. Like, and to be fair, we have talked about it longer than the actual match was at this point. Like, but
it was whack. It was lame. It was a waste of time. So we're gonna move on. I'm done talking.
We'll be
about
just
it.
like WWE Creative and move on.
Exactly. What's next, y'all? Pick a match.
Versus the Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio. So I will admit this is the one match on the card that I called wrong. You both got it right. Congratulations. The thing that made I to be clear, I thought this match was fine. I didn't have any major issues with it. I think the thing that I'm going to take away from this match is that even with Dominic helping Finn Rhea, right? they care so much about how strong they are booking Edge and Beth at this point in their careers. Um, because at this point, we figure we're probably going to get Edge and Finn Balor at WrestleMania, especially based off of what happened on Raw Monday. Um, but I mean, the match was good. Match was great. I don't really have any major issues with it. I
Was it
think
great or was it just good?
it okay, great and good. Like to me, it was a solid B plus. I think good is like a C to me. Great. I don't think it was a better than average mixed tag at a pay per view to me. Um, because you got the Shadow Machine at the end, which I lost my mind for. That was nutty. Then you had the brass knuckles thing happen, which I thought was really cool. You have also Dominic. This entire match was so funny and so entertaining. Loved the whole thing. And then you also have Finn and Rhea just doing what Finn and Rhea do best, which is cause chaos and sow destruction everywhere they go, which was delightful. Um, but Beth missing the cue on the near fall that she was supposed to break up was really distracting to me. Um, and again, can't blame Beth. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. But, I can't. We do have to call it out because it was pretty blatant. It was like blatant something that happened.
Yeah, it was
But the match
tough.
was good. Yeah, match was good. Match was really good.
Yep. I very little else to say about that match. I thought it was fine. Good match. Genuinely kind of felt a little bit more like filler, but I'll be completely honest. I think this feud has gone on a little too long. And I think going on into WrestleMania, it's going to become way too long. Um, but of course, by having Edge and Beth win, that means they're going to have to put it finally to bed at WrestleMania. It's going to have to continue. But we'll see because we're moving into like a new point right after WrestleMania. We're going to see new storylines develop. A breath of fresh air is going to hit us, and so we're going to have to see how this all ends. But I'd hope it ends soon.
I mean, I think it is going to be just Edge fighting like Finn or something, or Damian Priest announced that he didn't win his match. So, because Beth can't fight Rhea, Rhea's busy. Rhea's booked for WrestleMania. She's booked and busy, so she ain't got time for this feud any longer. Um, I think Edge might get into a match. It might be Edge and Ray against Dom and Finn, or Dom and whatever. I think they might do a tag with that. Whatever. I agree. I think the feud should end. I wish it would have ended with this match, but we know it's not.
Yep.
But hopefully by WrestleMania, it's just done and over. I don't know if they're trying to make Edge break up the Judgment Day like he started it so he can ruin it, or what. But hopefully by WrestleMania, we don't have to deal with any of this. And I think I want Edge to be able to retire on his own terms and in his career how he wants to. And I don't think he wants to end his career with this feud. Like, I don't think this is the feud you go out
Agreed.
on.
I
So
would hope not. This is
yeah,
a very underwhelming feud to like retire on.
right. And I think he's coming to his career is coming to that end soon. But I don't think this is what I would hope this isn't what he wants to go out on. But if it is,
Yep. Speaking
go
of,
ahead.
we know there is someone who wants to go out on this feud. Where is Rey Mysterio? What is going on? We're not building this at all, but we know that this is probably going to be Rey's last year with his son. So this has to end. Is it not going to end at Mania? Is it going to end before or after? What's going on there?
If it doesn't end at Mania, it'll end at SummerSlam. I think that would be really poetic because that's when Dominic came to the company at SummerSlam. Ray has a
Mm.
long history at SummerSlam himself. And also SummerSlam needs like that big crescendo match as well. And if it's advertised as like Rey Mysterio's final match, even if it's not loser leaves the company or loser retires or whatever, which we know who'd win, I think that would be a good spot if they don't do it at Mania. I feel like they kind of have to do it at Mania because you can't really have Rey Mysterio retire anywhere else. I feel like he's just that legendary and that iconic. Um, But on the subject of Edge and Finn, this feud I don't think has gone on too long. I think the problem with this feud is not necessarily the length, it's more of the fact that it's been spread out too long, right? Because in terms of the actual matches, they've only had like two or three, I think two total, right? This is the second match they've had in the feud, third if you count the Rumble, which I do not count the Rumble. So the in terms of like length of the feud, in terms of like repetitiveness, it's not been repetitive, right? It's just this has been going on since like what? When did Finn join the Judgment Day after SummerSlam last year?
Yeah.
It like August. The timeline that they have stretched this feud out over has
Yes.
been, um, and I can understand them wanting to carry it into Mania because at this point you took it this far. Why not just finish the job at Mania? Sure. And Edge and Finn, if it is the match they go with at Mania, which is what it's looking like based off of Raw, I'll be fine with it. It's going to be a really good match because both of them are super great in the ring. But yeah, they have stretched it pretty thin, and it better end at Mania, please.
If it doesn't, we riot.
No, no. If Sami Zayn loses, we exit quietly in an orderly fashion. Like there was
Yeah.
that was a sign at the pay per view. But yeah, but God. Also, two things I want to call out though. Two spots. One, Edge and Beth hitting the stereo educators in the match. I love the educator. It's one of my favorite submissions. So I did kind of pop a little bit for that. But secondly, just Dominic Mysterio leaving ringside and then coming back out like a minute later was so stupid, but I loved it so much. Because okay, how many times have we seen the whole like, oh, person gets chased up ramp by tag team partner, and then other tag team partner loses match because they don't have their partner, right? We see that so often. I thought we were gonna get a repeat of it, and then Edge just didn't leave. I'm like, okay, cool, cool, cool. But I was entertained. I was pretty entertained across the board.
Yeah. It was a good match. I enjoyed the match. It was, like you said, a couple of problem spots here and there, but I mean, Beth had been in the ring in a minute or so. We expect a little, I guess ring rust as they like to call it. But I think overall, I think the match was an entertaining match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the spots. So I was glad I caught that right. I was glad we called that right because, yeah.
One thing though, I really loved the ending sequence with Finn and Edge because I thought it would be so easy for them to just have Edge spear Finn and then do the tag finish and whatever. But no, they actually made it longer. They made it feel like the match could go on a little bit more. Also, not only did they hit a Shadow Machine in this match, they called it out by name on commentary, which
Actually, let's give a quick aside to this. That's not the only strange thing that the commentary desk has been saying, right? Because we've been back to saying a code breaker.
yeah.
No more facebusters. Along with the Shatter Machine, I don't know exactly if that means anything. Someone's having, maybe there's been some rule changes or whatnot. I don't know what's going on, but it is a little weird, isn't it?
Well, I think the big difference here, though, is the Code Breaker and the Shatter Machine themselves were both invented by Chris Jericho and FTR, formerly the Revival, if you're not familiar. So I can kind of understand the at least name value in the company. They were first used by Chris Jericho and the Revival. So I can understand if that's what they're going to call them in WWE canon. It's kind of like how certain moves just have different names in different areas. Like a Swanton in WWE is a Senton Bomb in Japan, right? Like you just have different names in certain things. But I don't know. I am always a fan of the idea of FTR going back to WWE because Triple H is booking now and he would use them properly. So
yeah, just a little strange, just a little interesting. That's all.
Who knows? I am ready for some surprise returns, some people who we haven't seen come back, and people we thought would never come back. So do what you got to do, Triple H.
Mhm.
Talk to who you need to talk to. Grease the palms of whoever palms need greasing, and bring people back here. Let's shake this stuff up because, like we said before, predictability is happening. We need to shake it up a little bit, make the universe go, wait, what?
Yep. Look how
Didn't see that
successful
coming.
Cody Rhodes' return was.
I'm
Also,
just saying.
who else would have preferred having Cody Rhodes and Baron Corbin on this card instead of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar? I'm
Oh,
just
of
saying.
course. Every human being alive. I would have
Please?
rather taken Cody Rhodes in a mop.
I, I, I would rather have Doink the Clown come back and fight the Brooklyn
Hornswoggle,
Brawler.
El
Yep.
Torito, and match. Like
If I
any.
say
Yeah, I'll
anything,
take the return of the Boogeyman.
the Boogeyman versus the IRS guy or something. Ted DiBiase can come back. Anybody would
I'd
have been
pop.
better than that match.
Mhm.
But yeah, so we go to the main event of the night. We Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn in Montreal in front of all of Sammy's family and friends and fans. And I'm gonna let y'all talk about it because I
Well,
will.
I would love to start it off
Please.
with a very simple sentence. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H didn't have the balls. And that's all I can say. That's what I had predicted. I had predicted that maybe he would blow away my expectations. And unfortunately, we're gonna get the same booking, the same boring, only at Mania. No, that's all right. It is what it is. We'll see Sammy return to the mid card, perhaps. Maybe not. Maybe he'll surprise me. But I definitely will say I definitely felt a blow. It was definitely the one match that felt wrong.
So, as based off of the three of us and how we have predicted things in the past, I am definitely the most cynical when it comes to WWE, and how I, to borrow a phrase from Bo Burnham, lower your expectations is like my general rule when it comes to predicting and booking. Um, and I gotta be honest, and at the time, because Wes and I talked about it on the ride back to his house Saturday night, like Wes was very upset. And I was trying to like, hey, we're not at Mania yet. We don't know what can happen between now and then, whatever. As time has went on, I am happier and happier with this outcome, and I'm not even gonna lie, because it made Sammy look like $1,000,000. He beat Roman in the ring. The ref was just down. It is what it is. One, two. It makes Roman look even more like the Bloodline look even more fractured than they were before, which is really good for Jey Uso. Um, I would love to see the Usos fight in a singles match at Mania. Like personally, I think that would be really cool. It'd be really great. Um, but the big part that I really enjoyed about this match was the ending, and not the ending of the match, but the post match stuff with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Um, and also, especially after the segment on Raw that we had on Monday, where Kevin Owens was like, "Yo, I didn't do it for you. I did it for your family, so they didn't have to see you get beat up the way I got beat up at the Royal Rumble, right?" And that made it more believable, more real, and less predictable to me. But also, I will admit, I was kind of bummed that Pipe Dream didn't happen. I would have loved for Sammy to win the belt here, but I think long-term booking-wise, Cody beating Roman will be way more satisfying than Cody beating Sammy. Because we know if Sammy would have won here, right? We know Cody's winning at Mania, no matter who he's fighting. Sammy winning and having the belts for a month would be way less satisfying than Cody taking them off of a guy who's held them for 2.5 years. So, as much as I love Sammy, and I think he deserves that world title, and he deserves to be in the main event, and all of that, this was not the right time based off of the other circumstances around it for Sammy to just win. I think if you have Sammy on night 2 and Cody on night 1 for each individual title belt, that would work better. But this particular show is not the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like it because y'all, I picked Sammy. I wanted Sammy. My heart wanted Sammy. Everything in me wanted this to be for Sammy to win this because I felt like it just would have been the icing on the cake for this story. But in that, I understand why, because I agree with you, Brooke. Sammy having a belt for a month, then losing it to Cody would have been very unsatisfying, and it would have did Cody a disservice because the fans would have turned on Cody. There is no doubt about it. The fans would have turned on Cody if he beat Sami Zayn after a month of holding the belt, after this long storyline and all this build up happens, and then Sammy wins, then loses. It wouldn't have been good for Cody, which is not what the company wanted, because Cody making his grand return, coming back and going and finally getting the belt that has eluded him and his family. He wants to do it for for everybody. He's the American Nightmare. He wants to do it for the American Dream. Da 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 da. It wouldn't have been satisfying for everybody if Sammy won it this time and then dropped it to Cody the month later. So I get it. Does it suck? Yeah. Because I still wanted Sammy to get it. Like, why would they book this? I feel like if they were not going to let Sammy win the belt, they shouldn't have ended the story so soon. Like, they should have continued the whole bloodline story up until, a little longer. And I don't know how they could have done it, because like we've been saying, Roman's going to lose the belt at WrestleMania. Then he's going to go away for a while. I think he's going to go, take a nice long break, which I feel like he deserves and needs at this point, because the man still has some medical things that he still has to deal with, and he's been doing this thing he's been the champion for 2 years, so he still needs to let his body heal and break or whatever. So I don't know how they could have done it, but I feel like if you're not going to let Sammy get the belt, why break up the story? Why? But I get it. It's a whole convoluted mess. And I feel like all the timing was off and on, just weird. But it's okay. It's okay. Sammy couldn't win. Roman won. Cody's going to win at WrestleMania. Sure, great. But I still need to know what happens with Sammy and Roman. Are they going to have another match? Is there going to be some kind of conclusion to this story? Because I still feel like it's open-ended to me. To me, it still feels open. I don't know about y'all. It just doesn't feel complete. And
I completely agree. And I think what we're going to see, Lana, is we're going to see either a really great ending or we're going to see a terrible ending. And specifically, I think it's actually not about Roman and it's not about Sammy at this point. It's actually about the Usos, and
It's about
specifically
Jay.
Jay. And we'll see, because if he goes and defaults back to the bloodline because Sammy speared him and we get a mediocre tag match that's well wrestled, but storyline is just mediocre. If we get something like that, then that's going to be the dissatisfying ending that I'm unfortunately kind of seeing turn out. But if we see, Jay do something unique or interesting, maybe like Jay and Sammy do something, something that actually builds off of the years of story that we've seen, then perhaps we're looking for something that's maybe more in the mid card, but at least it's a very nice end to the story, because that's all we want.
Yeah,
We want to see Sammy finish the story just like Cody will.
exactly. I agree.
As much as I would prefer for Sammy to fight Roman, for the Universal title at Mania on night one, not night one, night two, because we have all discussed, like, if they were to do the two matches, Cody winning the WWE title on night one and then Sammy winning the Universal title on night two would be way more thematically satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
But if they don't do that and they give us Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Usos, which I don't want it as much, but I would be okay with it. I think it would still thematically work. I think it would definitely work better if it was Jimmy and Solo instead of Jimmy and Jay. I think that would work way better. You could even do that with Jimmy and Solo versus Kevin and having Jay as the special referee. Make the tag titles Freebird rule, whatever, because the whole bloodline. But at this point, predicting what they're going to do with Sami Zayn at Mania is way less interesting to me than just watching it happen. I think we're going to just have to hold on to the reins and just see where Triple H takes this one. And as much as I would love for it to go a certain way, and I think there are definitely better ways than others, we have 6 weeks until Mania, and we're just gonna have to hold on tight and enjoy the ride and
Yep.
just see what happens.
Yep.
And no
Because
matter
we have a
what,
bunch of title reigns. They are roaming with Roman Reigns, and we'll see about where that ends up.
um, also to discuss the match, which we didn't even really talk about the match. Match was great, top to bottom. It was immaculate. One of we don't really talk about Roman Reigns in ring work very often because his character work has been so good for so long. But Roman Reigns has mastered the kick out at 2.99. Like, there were some near falls. Again, and like I told you at the Royal Rumble, WWE does not get me very often into the mindset of, oh my gosh, this person could actually win. Roman has gotten me twice in the past 2 shows, so props to him. But I can't remember the exact spot, but I think it might have been like a Holova kick or something. But Sammy went for the cover. It was 1, 2, and then like right before the referee hit the mat, it was when Roman kicked out. It was so good. Roman spearing himself through the barricade at ringside, also very satisfying to watch. The only part of this matchup I didn't really enjoy was the Jey Uso stuff at the end, because in terms of the ending of that, like Sammy accidentally spearing Jay and then Roman Capital is whatever. Like, are we not beyond that as a company at this point? Like the accidental distraction where you accidentally hit the person who might be working with you, and that costs you the match. Like Triple H, you are a better booker than that. You could have booked this ending better, I feel like, but it is what it is. We can't be like too mad. The match itself was great, and I'm very interested to see where it goes from here, because we still got 5.5 more weeks until Mania. So,
Yep, we'll
Yeah.
see.
I think, I don't know what's going to happen, but we just have to sit back and watch. Match was great. I enjoyed the match. Overall, it was great. And the outcome had to be the outcome for what had to happen at Mania. So it's great. It's fine. Overall, I think this Elimination Chamber was very, like we said, very much top tier. I enjoyed it. Um, I was entertained the entire time except the one match, but I went and got me something to eat at that point, so it didn't really matter. Um, yeah, but I enjoyed this. Hopefully, this is on the trajectory of what's going to happen at WrestleMania. We're going to get. See, this is the thing I always fear about this WrestleMania. Now that they do the 2 night WrestleManias, is that one night is really good, and then the other night is kind of lame. So hopefully we don't have that, but I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens though, because right now there's a lot left open and up in the air for a lot of matches.
well, right
Indeed.
now we had 3 matches officially confirmed for Mania,
Mm-hmm.
and the 2 Royal Rumble matches and Bianca and Asuka. We assume we're getting a couple, like Seth Rollins, Logan Paul is pretty much
Mm-hmm.
confirmed. Edge and Finn Balor is probably going to happen. Something involving Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the Usos. Something involving the Sami Zayn and the Bloodline people. That's probably going to happen as well. Gunther's defending the IC title against somebody, and then probably John Cena and Austin Theory. But that's only about like 8 matches, and there's a lot more card to fill here. So I assume we're probably going to get the women's and men's battle royals to fill out the people who aren't used elsewhere. We could get something with Dolph Ziggler and Mustafa Ali just based off of the match they had on Raw 2 days
Boy,
ago.
would I love to see it. Talk about two
I,
great wrestlers.
I would
Oh,
love to
dude,
see that.
you need to watch the match they had on Raw because
Mm-hmm.
the ending was so good, and also the right person won.
Fantastic.
I was very happy about it. Watch that match; it was great. Um, but also noteworthy omissions so far. Becky and Lita possibly fighting Damage Control at WrestleMania, which I'm here for it. Get Lita
I
on the
wouldn't be
card.
mad at that.
I
I
mean,
wouldn't
you're
be
gonna have
mad at that.
else on their team because it's gonna be a 3-on-3 if they do it. Um, any personal picks as to who you would prefer teaming with Becky and Lita other than Trish Stratus, which I know is the free
Uh,
answer?
I was just gonna say Trish Stratus, but I'm trying to think. They're in Hollywood.
No,
Oh God, no, I don't have anybody.
I
no,
mean,
Trish Stratus.
I would personally love to see Naomi come back.
I
For
mean, I can't do it to myself again. They I refuse to do it
I,
to myself again because Royal Rumble was just heartbreaking, and I was very hopeful, very very hopeful,
and then
and
you
they
got
shot, and I got Nia Jax, and that's just like gross,
that
gross.
was so sad. That was the
Yeah.
saddest.
So
Picture.
so yeah, no, I'm not gonna do it to myself. Everybody knows where I would love Naomi to come back, but I'm not going
No.
to hope for it.
But
I'm not going to wish for it. I'm not going to even ask for it.
overall, how did you guys feel about Elimination Chamber? Where would you put it? Overall, the entire card together, love it, hate it, like it.
Love it.
Yep,
Um,
I agree. I loved it.
I like. I don't think I loved it. I think Brock and Bobby really brought this pay-per-view down for me.
I refuse to let one match tear it down from what it was because I feel like the performances in this card, like everybody was doing their part. I think that one match is not the bringing it down. It was the filler match of the card. And I would
Well,
still say I loved it because I was very much entertained throughout the entire time. I would still give, if I gave it a grade, I would give it an A. Just an A,
so,
not A
do you
plus.
like this pay-per-view more than you like the Royal Rumble? That's my question.
For me, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
I
I did.
enjoyed the Royal Rumble more. I don't know if that's because I love the Royal Rumble as a match more than like the Elimination Chamber, but
I mean, overall,
Yeah, I watched Montez Ford kick someone twice in the head, and I liked it more than the entire Royal Rumble.
fair enough.
He's
Fair
that
enough.
talented. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Dude,
I'm about to say if I looked at the overall of it all, the overall Royal Rumble versus this overall Elimination Chamber, yeah, I enjoyed this chamber
yep,
overall more than the Royal Rumble.
agreed.
also just shout outs to the Montez Ford like upside down Spider Man like
Coming
fall
off the top,
top of the chamber. Oh my god. Give this man
that
a title, please.
Yep,
Like
we
please.
all
tomorrow.
agree. Give this man a title.
Yeah, give him a title. He needs one. But yep, that's gonna do it, y'all. Because I feel like we've talked about it enough. WrestleMania is coming. We don't really, like we said, the three that we know for sure. The others are up in the air and coming together, and you know we'll figure it out. Like we've got 6 weeks to WrestleMania,
Yep.
and I'm excited to see how it comes out. We'll be back to talk about predictions for WrestleMania once the card starts to form and we know for sure who's going to be there. Um, I'll ask this question, like I like to ask a question before we leave. Do we think this WrestleMania? What do we think this WrestleMania is going to fall? Is it going to be good, great, eh, or horrible?
This WrestleMania has the potential to be the best WrestleMania since like WrestleMania 31.
Mm-hmm.
Not better. Just based off of what we know could happen, and based on the quality of people that are in this match in general, um, I in like the things that we think are going to happen in the card that we already have shaping up. This has all the potential in the world to be outstanding.
Okay.
So I am quite excited for the show. That's just me, and we'll see what happens. You know,
Okay. Wes, what you think?
I'm thinking it'll be good.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with good with potential.
Yep.
Yeah. It's good with potential right now. It could turn out to be exceptional, but right now I'm at good with potential. So, well, that's gonna do it for us, you guys. Thank you for watching. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, follow if you enjoy our commentary. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you think, how you think WrestleMania is going to shape out. Um, Tell us what you think. We're open to hear it and love to read it. Follow us on at @thecup_reality on Twitter to find out when this is going to drop and when all of our other content is going to drop. We're talking everything from wrestling to drag race and everything in between, because you can't get no further from wrestling and drag race. But everything in between, we got it for you. If you want to be a part of the show, DM myself, DM Logan, DM anybody on this panel. If you just want to talk about something, we'll make it happen. We'll get to,
Except
you know.
you can't. He doesn't have a Twitter.
I
That's
mean,
me.
yeah,
DM
anybody
me.
who has one of the people down here, if you want to talk wrestling with us, DM me or smash 3 a.m. smash, and or let us know if you want to talk wrestling with us. We would love to have you. We would love to hear your ideas, fresh new ideas, because why not? And that's it. Thank you so much, and cheers, everybody.
All
Cheers,
right.
you
Cheers.
guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Bye bye now.
Shop at
Yep. Oh, my Etsy shop. Always shop at the Etsy shop. Link in the bio.